Back on 1380 with Charles D'Angelo. He's the author of the book, Think and Grow Thin. Thin, the word is thin. It used to be my mantra. It's better to, thin feels better than food tastes.
There you go.
That is my mantra, and it still is my mantra.
Excellent.
Please welcome to the show, Charles D'Angelo. Welcome.
Well, thank you, ladies. I'm pleased to be here. Very excited.
Thank you for being here. And I don't know if I'd get a rapper, Jeremy, so much on that song. Maybe an MB player, but I'm looking at Mr. D'Angelo here. He is physically fit. He's got Superman on. And he is busting out of that with the muscles.
In a good way now.
With
10
the
years
muscles.
ago, it wasn't so much in a good way. I wouldn't be seen in a shirt like this.
Wow.
Well, let's talk about your past here first. Not all of it, but regarding to weight loss. At 17, you decided that you were at 160 pounds overweight. Mm-hmm. And you said, I've got to do something or I'm headed down the wrong path. So what did you do at that point?
Well, I always say I could have been the king of excuses if I wanted to be. I came from a family, like so many others, that was plagued by obesity, by its related illnesses. Most of my father's family suffered from type 2 diabetes, hypertension, all of the comorbidities like high cholesterol, things that would really bring a very quick end to most people's lives if it wasn't handled. So I had all the reasons in my family on my father's side to say, this is just my destiny. I mean, you looked around myself. I looked around myself at that time and I said, there's no one in my family that's fit. There's no one that's healthy. Everyone's overweight and sick. My mother's side was plagued by addiction in another way. Most of her family suffered from alcoholism and addiction in that dimension. So I really didn't have any role models. So I had all the reasons to say, this is just the way it's going to be. And I was using food, much like a drug addict uses a drug, to complace how much anxiety, how much chaos was around me. I mean, dealing with that type of environment growing up was very difficult. And as a child, I used food to kind of calm myself. So by the time I was 17 years old, I weighed 360 pounds. My waist was a size 50. I would break out in a sweat in the middle of an air-conditioned environment. My heart would be beating outside of my chest. I was about to give up on myself. I had counselors at school that would warn me and say, you might not live to see your high school graduation if you keep going. But I would take that and say, well, thank you very much for your care. And then I'd go to McDonald's or I'd go home and have a couple more Pop-Tarts. So I was the prime example of someone that was using food as a tool to change how I felt. And thanks to God's grace, I had an epiphany at 17 wherein I was at home one night and I'd ordered an entire pizza and a box of breadsticks and a 2-liter of regular soda. And I ate all of it. And I fell asleep on the couch. And I woke up about 2:30 or 3 in the morning. And I reached for the remote control to turn off the television. And I couldn't see. My vision was totally blurred. It wasn't like a blindness where it's black. It was just like where you feel like your eyes are sleepy and they're kind of blurry. And I felt real lightheaded and dizzy. And despite rubbing my eyes, the blurriness wouldn't go away. And so I pushed the power button on the TV and I just closed my eyes. And as a child, you think you're invincible. So I figured, well, this would go away. So I woke up in the morning, it was gone. So I kind of put it out of my mind. But that next day in a class, I was sitting over an exam, and all of a sudden I started noticing drips of sweat were beating off of my forehead and landing on the exam in front of me. And then all of a sudden my heart was racing and my hands were getting all clammy, and I knew I had to do something. I had to change. Otherwise, that prophecy that counselor said might have came to pass. I may not have lived to see my high school graduation. So I decided at that point it was time to change. And there was no lack of diets. There was no lack of experts around me. But something was missing because there were all these diets, all these plans that would work. But what I really needed was not some type of motivational diet. I needed to change my whole attitude, my whole philosophy about food and exercise, my whole mindset. So in 2 years, I changed my food habits. I changed my exercise habits, most importantly, changing my mindset, and I lost 160 pounds. I committed my life to service, to helping other people. And in the last decade, I've been blessed and fortunate and honored and humbled to help now thousands of people to recondition their relationship with food and exercise.
Now, how long did it take you to lose that
2
weight?
years. 2 years it took me to lose 160 pounds.
Because
Wow.
it took me 9 months. I lost 50 pounds.
That's excellent.
And I had the same feeling where you wake up one day and you say, I can't live like this anymore.
Absolutely.
And it's when I realized that food, I was using it emotionally as you were speaking, and I was driving down Manchester Road, and I would do this on days that I was upset. And I would drive down Manchester looking for a fast food place that was going to make me happy. And I thought, I know Tisha's looking at me like, really? This is putting it out there. And I was just driving up and down, and I kept driving by, my old haunts like Lion's Choice or White Castle. Because as a kid, I grew up in Chicago. My dad brought me White Castle. So whenever I was sad, I'd go and get some White Castle hamburgers. And I was driving up and down the road, and the phone rings, and it's my dad. And he says, "Hi, hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm driving down Manchester." He goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm looking for a food place." "Oh, you're hungry? You're hungry already? Is it lunchtime there?" And I said, and I just started to cry. I said, and I pulled into a parking lot. I said, "Dad, I'm looking for a place to eat because I'm so sad and I don't know what else to do." And it was at that moment that I realized that I was using food to make myself happy. I was trying to reach back to my childhood, to White Castle. So I had this hour-long conversation with my dad in the parking lot, and then realized that I had to get help. And so I did. I sought help through a weight loss agency that helped me realize for the first time in my life, as you said, it's not about food.
It's not about a diet.
It has nothing
it's not
really
about
to
an
do about
exercise program.
food.
I always say that if a diet was the answer, if some type of machine was the answer, if there was a DVD or pill that was the answer, we wouldn't see the problem that we see in the airports. We wouldn't see the problem that we see out on the streets. I wouldn't have had the problem I had. You wouldn't have had the problem you had. There was something that's been missing. And what my program does that's different from everything else that's out there is it really helps a person focus in on how to change your mindset with food and exercise so that food and exercise becomes as basic as hygiene. The right foods become as basic to you as putting your makeup on, as doing your hair in the morning, as getting dressed, so that no longer are you confronted by this conflict day after day, trying to figure out what you're going to do. So few people that I work with have a strategy. You can really want something really, really bad, but without an effective map, you're not going to be able to get there. And secondly, if you're not willing to get real with yourself, let's face it, it's painful to take responsibility and say, I'm where I am, not because of menopause, not because of my history, not because of my family, not because of my genetics. I'm where I am because of my choices. Look, you're overweight. You're not happy with whatever in your life because of the choices you're making. Either give more to that issue, really put yourself out there, step up, raise yourself up to a new level of expectation, and really apply yourself to get your life where you want it to be. Seek out help. If you don't know where to go, look for a role model. Look for someone that has what you have, and their strategies can work for you if you're willing to embrace them and to really open yourself up and to stop trying to control it. We have to surrender that and say, we're going to be willing to learn again, be a student again, open ourselves up. And so many people say, well, Charles, I've tried everything. You haven't tried everything. The reality is, if you are at the point in your life where you're fed up, it means that you're at a place where you found things that haven't worked. It's time simply to look for something that is going to work, and if you don't know where to look again, look for someone that's gotten the result that you want. If they've gotten it, the only difference between you and them is the strategy that they're using as opposed to the rules or strategy that you're using. So if you learn that strategy, if you learn those rules, and you apply it consistently, because that's a big differential. So many people do something some of the time. And we're not a product of what we do some of the time. We're a product of what we do most of the time. So these people that say, well, yeah, if I was younger, I could lose weight. Or if I was, if I grew up in a family that was more physically fit and I didn't have this lifetime of bad habits, I could lose weight. You are where you are because of the choices you're making. If you're willing to change the choices, you will change your outcome. But you got to really be willing to be real with yourself and say, you know what, this is where I am. I'm miserable. I'm not fitting into the clothes I want to fit into. My relationship's suffering because of it. I'm suffering because of it. I'm not able to have the energy I want to be the mother I want to be. I mean, so many things are impacted by how you feel about yourself. And so what I work to do is remove that barricade, that barrier for a person's life so they can fully magnify all life's experiences and really have the juice and the joy that comes with living every day.
He's good.
Yeah,
this guy is good. This guy is good. And you call yourself a life coach.
I call myself a weight loss coach.
A weight loss coach. Okay.
Yes. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. Now, many of those people come and seek my counsel every single week. I have clients that are psychiatrists. I have clients that are therapists. I have clients that are doctors. I have clients that are lawyers. I have clients from all walks of life. I have clients that are teenagers. The fact remains that if you're really ready to step up, you can change anything about your life. So many people have lost hope because they've bought into this story that they've created that says, well, because I've done X, Y, Z, I can never have my life the way I want it. If you're willing to change your script, We all are living a life based upon our experiences, how we interpret it. You brought up a very valid point. You said, I was reaching back into my past to some experience that gave me a certain feeling.
Comfort.
The associations that we make to things are so very critical. If the associations you're making to unhealthy foods are one that is, well, I'd rather have this instant gratification rather than have the long-term fulfillment that comes with knowing you're in control of your health and in control of your habits. If you continue to reinforce, well, I'll just change how I feel in the instant right now, rather than embrace discipline and understand that by having control and being consistent day after day, week after week, month after month, you're ultimately setting your life up to have everything you want, then you'll live the life you want. But if you continue to reinforce that bad habit, you're going to make that muscle, that bad choice muscle, stronger and stronger and stronger. So you have to start to build the muscle of discipline. And so few people have spent time building that muscle up. But it's just like anything else. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. The stronger it becomes, the easier things become.
You know what? I think we should break here and maybe coming back. I love you've got the gift of motivation.
Oh.
And that's what somebody like me who works at weight loss every day needs to hear, because it's a voice of hope. And so I think you're speaking to a lot of women out there.
Yes,
wouldn't you agree, Tisha?
absolutely.
That need to hear this. But after the break, let's talk about specifics we can do today.
Absolutely, because I'm not only about motivation, I'm about being real and being strategic.
And there are ways
we can do rah, 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 but if you don't have an important and effective strategy, it's going to be rah, rah, rah,
right.
and then depression. Okay,
right.
So we want to do rah, 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 and then now here's what you need to do.
Okay.
So the next segment, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, we'll talk strategy coming up on 1380 The Woman.
We're back live with 1380 The Woman and 1380thewoman.com. For all your listeners out there, you can call in and talk to weight loss lifestyle coach Charles D'Angelo right now at 314-969-1380. He's here on Let's Talk Shop with Dawn and Tisha right now. Find out how to think and grow thin. Welcome back.
Well, what is up, Letitia? I'm all charged up after our last segment.
You are. You have us charged up. And what do you think about the big information out there that overweightness and obesity is a disease?
I am totally against it. 100% against it. I think it ascribes obesity as something outside of one's control, when me and the thousands of others that I've counseled and coached are proof positive that no matter how far off the mark you are, if you're really ready to take responsibility for your life, you can make it any way you want. I'm not one to use labels. I tell people to really be careful the way you define yourself. Your identity is such a controlling force of your life. If you define yourself as a fat person, if that's who you really believe in your heart, your soul, your being, that's who you are, you're going to find it very difficult to go to the gym every day. You're going to find it very difficult to be consistent with any healthy food plan, because that's who you are. It's like saying if you're a warrior. Well, if you're a warrior, you're not going to be the type of person that's going to be very submissive and laid back. So the definition, the identity you give to yourself is so very important. So ascribing yourself as being an addict or being someone that has a disease like type 2 diabetes, a lot of people I talk to actually believe that type 2 diabetes is something that they have absolutely no control over, like they picked it up from rubbing a doorknob the wrong way or something, like some type of illness, when in reality it's something you have complete control over. Over 90% of the cases of type 2 diabetes are reversible. And what I really want listeners to think about is sometimes we don't value the gifts that we have in life until we recognize just how fragile they are. I had a woman come to see me this past Friday whose mother passed from pancreatic cancer. And it was so very moving to hear her discuss how she witnessed her mom's passing. You know, sometimes we don't value the relationships, the people we have in our life. We don't even value our own health until it's compromised, until the doctor says, I'm sorry to say, but you have X, Y, Z. What I'm here to say is, look, you can really proactively work against having any of those things ever come up in your life by taking control of your habits. If you feed your body in a certain way, if you exercise your body in a certain way, and if you think in a certain way, you think positively, and you don't speak doubt over your life, and you really embrace spirituality, and you bring God into your life as well, that's such a big part of this, your life can go so well. But when you act as if you're a victim, a martyr, there's no sadder case, because you don't really take full responsibility or control of what you can, and thereby your life's always at outcome. I always say you don't want to be in a reactive state. You want to be in a responsive state. We all have an ability to respond. So when things happen to us, we can either just react, just very, very short-sighted, just do whatever comes us, or we can think about it and make a really proactive choice. And with knowing that you have so much control of your health, why not feed yourself in the way that's going to nourish your body, that's going to take care of you?
So let's talk about some strategies that people can do that are listening. But first, I want to mention just some of the people you have helped. Senator Claire McCaskill,
yes,
who has lost weight. And I saw her a couple of months ago, and she really looks fabulous. So
She's
I didn't
coming
realize
up on 2 years of keeping it off.
Okay, so I didn't realize, and it was 2 years ago when I started noticing the change.
She was really, really noted for using Twitter. When she came to see me the first time after she left my office, she went on Twitter and tweeted that she was fed up with feeling fat and she was going to do something about it. And so I thought that was so exciting because she was really putting herself out there. And that's something someone can do. You speak to strategies. Put yourself out there. Make a commitment. Make it public. Now, I'm one that I say keep it to yourself. That's my personal opinion. But for some people, it really works to make a public commitment, to put it out there to your friends, to your family.
I think accountability
Absolutely
is the key.
Yes, I think accountability is a huge thing.
So what you're saying is put it out there, let everybody know. I announced to my family, I said, this is the day, and it was a day in August, the first day of school 5 years ago, and I said, I'm going on this, and everybody just looked at me like, what's this going to do to me? And that's the big thing. Your family starts to think, how is this going to change my life?
And it will.
And it
will definitely change your environment. It will definitely change those that you're around, because those that you're around influence you and you influence them. And by you simply striving to make your life better is going to hold up a mirror to them and make them realize what they should be doing. And sometimes that makes them uncomfortable. So what I always tell people to do is don't say you're going on a diet. That's something that really comes with a lot of negative associations. People think it's a short-lived, short-term fix. Say that you're really working on getting healthy. You're really working on taking charge of your habits. You're really working on making exercise a routine that you stay consistent with, so it becomes a lifestyle. Like I said, I don't offer a diet program. I offer a system, a way of thinking, a way of living to totally change your entire life.
Okay, so number one, make it public or make the decision to do it. And then
yes,
what would be the next step?
You have to make the decision. I'd say the first thing you have to do, as we were talking about earlier, is define where you are. You need to know where you are to know where you're going to get to. If you want to take a trip to Florida on vacation, but you don't know you're in Missouri, okay, and you take a route, you design a route to get there, but you start in the wrong state, you're going to never end up in Florida. So what you got to do is you got to know where you are. So get real with yourself. Go to the doctor. Always involve your physician in anything that you're doing when it comes to changing your life through changing your health habits with food and exercise. So involve your physician. Have a full blood work panel drawn and ran to see where all your levels are so you know where you're starting. And so many people are afraid of that. But when you get real, you know where you're starting, and then you can know what you want to work towards. So first, define the results. Second, define the reasons. I'm not only known for helping people create massive changes in their life, I'm known for helping people maintain those once they've achieved their goal. So you have to have compelling reasons to stick with the plan that you have, because so many people get all charged up and all fired up, and they want to lose 50 pounds, and they lose 42, and then all of a sudden their best friend says to them, well, why don't we go out for cocktails this Friday? Or their significant other says, well, why don't we go to the movies and have some popcorn? And they know that's not part of the strategy.
Right.
So when they do that, it can oftentimes take them off of their program or take them off of their strategy. So by getting really compelling reasons, not only doing it because you want to look better, but thinking about the ultimate reasons. I want to preserve my health. I don't want to have illnesses come about that I will really have to take medications for. I'll feel I'm out of control with. I won't be able to have the intimacy, the connection I have in my relationship because I don't feel good in my body. So many women come to see me every day and they say they haven't been physically intimate with their partner, not because their partner's not interested, but because they don't feel good in their own skin. You got to ask yourself, are you the type of person that you don't feel good in a swimsuit anymore? You don't feel good naked anymore? And you're not even in front of somebody, in front of yourself, you feel ashamed of it. You know, I know I was 360 pounds, you know, and you avoid mirrors, you don't want yourself in pictures, things like that.
I got to tell you, before I lost the weight, before I faced the fact I needed to, I would always look in the one mirror that was just of my head. And I'd go, well, my cheeks look a little pudgier, but I don't know. I just
nothing from the neck down. I don't want to look.
And one day I walked to my daughter's, have a full-length mirror, and I caught myself, and I thought, who is that? Because I was under this illusion. I was in this little tiny mirror, and my husband even said, do you need a full-length mirror here when we moved And I said, no, I'm fine. I'm
and
fine.
so many people fall into that denial trap where they just ignore it. And they just ignore it until it becomes so urgent that they have to change. And that speaks to what I was saying about the medical issue. Many people won't come to my office until their doctor says, look, you need to go see Charles, because if you don't change your habits now, you're going to be on medication for type 2 diabetes, or we're going to have to put you on hypertensive medication. Rather than get there, why not bring that to the present? Why not bring that reality of where your habits are taking you to the now, so that way you can change now?
Oh, okay, so because we're running out of time, and you've got why do we want it, which I think is the key.
So first, you want to define your results, then the reasons.
Why the reasons.
And then the roadmap.
And then the roadmap. So if they were going to do one thing today, what would be, if they know they have the reasons, they know they want it, and now they're starting their roadmap. The most important thing in that roadmap is what?
I'd say there's two things. I always look at this as a three-legged stool. So the first thing you have to do is define a healthy eating plan. That's the first leg. Healthy eating is something we have to have involved. So define a healthy eating plan that's strategic, that's consistent, and set up a food schedule so that starting with breakfast, you're eating about every 3 hours. And this will sound totally boring and mundane, but it's what's transformed the lives of literally thousands of people that have worked with me one-on-one and through my work in my book. Set up a food plan that you eat the same way every day for 14 days. Why? The reason is it will help you disconnect from the emotional eating you find yourself caught up in. So many people are eating when they're not even hungry. So by setting up a consistent strategic eating plan where you're eating the same foods every day, and they're all things that are easy, all things that taste good, all things that are accessible to you, you totally take out the guesswork, you take out the ambiguity, and you're totally set on what you're going to do. And in 14 days, you feel so much better, and your clothes are getting looser, and your energy's better, and your mood's better, and you're sleeping better. People are telling you look different, that momentum pushes you forward. So that's leg one. Second leg, exercise. Start to do cardiovascular exercise at least 5 times a week. Never take 2 days off in a row, because you don't want to break the pattern. So you get 2 days off a week when you work with me, but 2 of those days, they need to be spread out. So you could do Monday, Tuesday cardio, take Wednesday off, do Thursday, Friday cardio, take Saturday off, and then Sunday again. Building momentum is so important in these early stages. So set up a cardio routine where you're walking on the treadmill 25 or 30 minutes a day. That's the second leg. That first leg I talked about was healthy eating. Now the third leg, and most important leg, and what's missing in everything else that's out there, is the right mindset. So you've got to come to the table with those reasons and those results clearly defined, and add to them as you go. Because so many people get, as I said, really excited in the beginning. They're all focused. They're all charged up. But how many people do you know that have started some type of journey, have lost a little bit of weight, only to gain all that weight back plus some, right? So you have to keep your goals exciting. You have to keep them in front of you. And I'm not one of these guys that's all about the secret. You remember that big Oprah phenomenon, The Secret, about, just visualize it and it'll come to you. Okay, I'm here to tell you, no one. Okay, you can think about it all you want, and if you're not taking action, it ain't coming.
Oh well, yeah, with the action, but I do believe in imaging, because I think
you have to see it before
you have to see it before it happens.
It.
If you talk to any athlete or there was a woman who won Miss America,
and
when she won, they said to her, what do you think? And she said, well, I'd heard it announced so many times in my head.
She had already felt as if it happened.
She knew she was the winner.
It was real to her.
I believe in that.
You've got
to see yourself doing
so that it motivates you to take action.
Right.
If you see it, a wonderful teacher once told me, affirmation without action is the beginning of delusion. Okay?
Right, absolutely.
So I am there to tell you that you've got to take action.
So when are you ready to take this on the road? Because I can totally see you doing motivational speaking as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I have those opportunities in front of me right now. In fact, a couple people are working with me in production for a big seminar. I was fortunate enough to be invited by my good friend, mentor, teacher, Tony Robbins, who has had a profound impact on my life. In fact, he endorsed my book, Think and Grow Thin. So I've been impacted by great teachers like him, great teachers like Wayne Dyer, and what I really work to do is try to serve as many people as I humanly can. You're exactly right that, working one-on-one has its benefits. You can't buy what I get from my work. To have someone, a young lady that's never been kissed, never felt good in a dress, never went to a dance, that's 16, 17, 18 years old, lose 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds, come in my office, sit across the desk, having lost that weight and break down tears in gratitude, saying how much her life has changed, that everything's different. Or to have a mom come in and her and her husband were on the brink of a divorce because neither of them were getting along. She was so down and so miserable, and she felt so out of control that she wasn't able to give to him or give to the family, and he was about to walk out. And she took control of her habits and totally changed her life, and through that, her relationship was revitalized. To have those types of experiences are what I live for. To be able to do that on a bigger scale, like you're mentioning motivational speeches, I'd love to. I'd love to do it.
I think there's a calling there.
It sounds like there's no more loss of consortium with him.
No.
Well, I really believe that for anyone. Well, I appreciate you both, and I just want to tell everyone that's sitting in their car listening, look, no matter what you've done out there, no matter what your past, no matter what your family, no matter what your genetics, no matter what illnesses you might be suffering from, if you're willing to really get clear on what you want and willing to pay the price of discipline, everything will come together to help you get your life in order to get you where you want to go. There is hope for you, but you've got to be willing to pay that price of discipline and stop telling yourself this story about why you can't.
Right.
Stop buying into the script of this negative history. If you're ready to abandon those excuses and put those out of your mind and just take consistent action and learn from those things that aren't working and use those to further yourself closer to where you want to go, you will not be stopped.
Well, I say...
I love it. It's a lifestyle change.
It's a lifestyle change, and we have... one of our salespeople here that have lost 45 pounds. She's a walking testimony to you.
Well, thank you.
As well as many people, including Angela Bassett, who's a Golden Globe winner, Senator Claire McCaskill. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you so much.
Great job, and just keep doing the good work. And I love that you say you call on God for it, too, because I do believe without that, I know I had to ask God for help with this and every day, and I love that you had that spiritual...
And some people are really, really cautious about that, and they're afraid of their sales and books and things going down, and I'm not at all.
I love
because I'm here
that.
to tell you what. Guess what? None of us would have anything without God in our life.
Right.
We all have a purpose, and we're all meant to contribute, make a difference, and bring good in the world. And if you think it's all about you, I'm here to tell you that you're not going to have very much success. We're here to serve others and try to make the world a better place through love, and love's more important than anything else. And if you don't love yourself, you're not able to give that love to others. So you go looking from relationship to relationship, from man to man, from one night stand to one night stand. You're not going to find it. What you've got to find is that within yourself, that goodness, that spark within yourself, and really embrace that, nourish it, ignite it, and through igniting that, you'll attract, as we were talking, the right people, the right circumstances, the right events into your life, so your life can be one that's just profoundly influential and magnifying all the good things that are in the world.
And that's how me and Donnie are partnered together.
Yeah, it was fate. We knew God had a hand in it, so that's how we came together.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
He always does.
The book is called Think and Grow Thin. Charles D'Angelo, thank you so much.
It's my honor, my pleasure. Thank you, ladies.
Great to have you here. Coming up.